chocolate, an indulgent, decadent pleasure.
Oh.
Available to everyone.
Would you give me your last Rolo?
No.
Mike?
From bars to boxes, chocolate oranges to chocolate mints.
Cheers.
Supermarket bargains to boutique luxury. We Brits munch 500,000 tons of the stuff every year.
Oh my gosh.
Making us the biggest chocolate eaters on Earth.
Literally, I can't stop.
In this series, we explore our sweet obsession. Enter factories that create our most loved brands.
It's like in your kitchen having a massive 100 kg mixing bowl.
Witness the crazed creations of madcap chocolatiers.
Boris, you beauty.
And unearth the nostalgic history of old favourites.
That is a chocolate bar that I remember from long, long ago.
As we reveal chocolate in all its mouth-watering glory. This time, inside the luxury chocolate makers appointed by the royals.
You all have a secret vice, and you're standing in it. It's fantastic.
The magic formula behind the success of Quality Street and Rolos.
It's a great thing to put toffee and chocolate together.
And 100 kilograms of incredible chocolate creations.
We love chocolate.
All in the mouth-watering and wonderful world of chocolate. Us Brits have long loved munching affordable chocolate treats. But times are changing. Today, we're increasingly spending more on luxury. From premium choc giants Lindt to Britain's own Hotel Chocolat and Montezuma's. But the factory with arguably the most prestigious chocs is this unassuming place in northwest London. Home to a 117-year-old chocolate business, Prestat.
You're never far away from the chocolates we make on the high street. So, for instance, we supplied Pret a Manger with 3 products, as well as doing private label for the likes of Harrods, Faulkner Mason, Liberty, Selfridges, Harvey Nichols.
But Prestat's reputation rests above all on their own label and a seal of approval from Britain's most prominent chocolate fan. A royal warrant from the Queen.
The royal warrant says Prestat, by royal appointment, purveyors of chocolates to Her Majesty the Queen. And it means that we supply the royal household, in this case Buckingham Palace, with chocolates, and we've done so since 1975.
Prestat produce over 250 recipes a year, and these high-class treats are made almost entirely by hand and on a boutique scale. Something co-owner Nick Crean is especially proud of.
I think one of the interesting things here is that this factory produces about 300 tons of finished goods a year. But all the cooking you're seeing, all the cooking is on 2 Bunsen burners and this magic Stefan machine, which mixes ingredients.
Today on the production line are chocolate-covered marzipans, a treat which consists of a mixture of ground almonds and sugar. The classic chocolate Florentine, a layer of dried fruit and almonds held together by sugar, butter and honey, which is then dipped in chocolate. And 3 varieties of truffle, a chocolate treat at the very heart of Prestat and the foundation of their success, because Prestat claimed to have invented them.
Once upon a time, as all good stories start, there was a kitchen in Chambéry in France, which was run by the Dufour family, our founders. They invented the world's first ever recipe for a chocolate truffle. It's so secret, the secret recipe, that even I don't know it.
These melt-in-your-mouth chocolate treats quickly became known as truffles, thanks to their resemblance to the highly sought-after fungi, the black truffle. And one of the truffles being produced today is the sea salt caramel. It begins life as chocolate pellets, which are turned into molten chocolate. It's then pumped over to a special bit of kit.
This is our magnificent one-shot machine. In one hopper, we have sea salt caramel, and in this one, we have lovely liquid chocolate coming straight from a tank. And then this rather ingenious machine fills the outside and the inside of a truffle with one shot.
These ripe royal truffles are then chilled to 12 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes in this cooling machine. Once set, the next step is to cover the truffles in an extra layer of chocolate. Today, they are using a new type of chocolate known as ruby. This chocolate may look like it's been dyed, but it actually gets its pink colouring from the cocoa bean itself.
The lovely team are just dipping their hands into bowls of chocolate. Can you imagine anything nicer? Just dipping your hands into warm, melted chocolate and then just rolling these around.
The final touch for these truffles is a sprinkle of sea salt. Over in the packing room, each of the 16 million truffles they produce in a year are packed by hand. Instead of hundreds of machines, there are only ever 16 people packing at any one time. And such fancy chocks require regal boxes. So owners and brothers, Nick and Bill, enlisted the help of a top designer to give them their now vibrant packaging.
The Century box is in fact a grenadier. He has the right number of buttons on his tunic. I actually went up to outside Buckingham Palace with our designer so that she could get the right number of buttons.
It's that attention to detail that matters.
Later, we visit their boutique shop where they sell chocks fit for a queen.
It smells unbelievably beautifully of chocolate, which is a difficult one for television, but you'll just have to believe me.
There are few things as nostalgic as a familiar chocolate treat.
That is the flavour that you remember from childhood.
Yet whilst the tastes are well known, the stories behind these bars are not.
Is it really? Oh, there you go. Learn something new every day.
This time, we're exploring the hidden history of a whole family of famous chocks. A family few realise are related. It includes Quality Street,
Beautiful.
Munchies,
Amazing.
Toffee Crisp, and a tube of treats advertised with one of the most memorable ad slogans of all. First heard in this animated ad from 1980.
Do you love anyone enough to give them your last Rolo?
Today, these treats are made by Nestlé, but that's not who invented them. This family of brands was dreamt up by a Yorkshire confectionery giant whose name is now almost forgotten. Macintoshes of Halifax.
Macintoshes is an unfamiliar name nowadays, but in the world of confectionery, it's huge.
All of Macintosh's biggest hits were based on one killer combination: chocolate and toffee. A perfect pair, according to food expert Professor Barry Smith.
It's a great thing to put toffee and chocolate together. You've got lots of versatility with toffee. You can have it stringy and very soft, you can have it brittle and hard, and everywhere in between. But the other nice thing is that when you're eating chocolate with toffee, they do different things to you at different times. So the sweetness of the toffee, the caramel will hit the tongue first. Then when the chocolate melts, then you'll get the extra sweetness. So it's a little journey between one and the other, and I think the brain really likes that.
Macintosh has perfected this brain-pleasing pair in everything from gooey Rolos to chewy Toffee Crisp. A range of products that was impossible before Macintoshes came along.
In 1890, the only toffee you could get in England was either this brittle hard stuff like Werther's Original or runny American caramels.
But then in 1890, the owner of this Halifax sweet shop changed everything. Her name was Violet Mackintosh, and she was about to invent the perfect partner for chocolate. A toffee that would become the building block of Quality Street and Toffee Crisp. So how did this brilliant sweet maker do it? According to master chocolatier Paul A. Young, it starts with making a sugary syrup.
So we put water in, a lot of sugar, because caramel and toffee is predominantly sugar. And a little bit of sea salt, that goes on the stove.
Heating this creates hard toffee, but Violet wanted chewiness. Her answer was a second creamy mixture consisting of double cream, condensed milk, golden syrup, and butter. Combine the two and you get the perfect chocolate companion, chewy toffee.
This is the very same toffee that Violet at Macintoshes would have experienced and would have made.
At first, Macintosh has sold this toffee without chocolate, and it was an extraordinary hit. In 10 years, the business grew from a little sweet shop to a factory exporting toffee around the world. Then in 1917, Macintoshes used chocolate to cover their toffee deluxe. The dream combination had arrived. They were ready to produce some of Britain's most iconic treats.
You can't beat Quality Street.
Coming up, we lift the lid on Quality Street's 80-year legacy.
There are still 5 sweets in Quality Street from the original 1936 assortment.
And find out how the palace gets their chocolates.
We want to deliver the chocolate in perfect condition and as quickly as possible.
For most of us, chocolate is simply a mouth-watering snack, moulded into a bar or bite-sized mouthful. But for some chocolatiers, the sweet stuff can be much more. From a boarding school to a life-sized Benedict Cumberbatch, anything can be made from chocolate.
It was made of 500 chocolate bars melted down. That's about 50 kilos of chocolate.
And here, in the village of Rode, Somerset, they won't be outdone. An extraordinary harvest festival feast is being made entirely from chocolate.
So today, it's Operation Feast. We've got to get everything organised. We've got less than 48 hours now.
This chocolatey wonderland is the workshop of Flo Broughton and her dad, Kerr Dunlop. The pair have agreed to create a vast harvest festival display for charity, made from 100 kilos of liquid chocolate. They'll be creating over 150 items, from chocolate asparagus to chocolate croissant, with even the plates and cutlery made from chocolate. And if this wasn't enough, they're going to display the feast on a table also made out of chocolate.
This is like probably the most different kind of commission that we've ever been asked to do. But actually, I'm really excited to do it because, well, if we can do it, then that means we can do anything, Dad.
Because she promises us stupid things, we actually have to do it. How on earth are you going to do it? This harvest festival thing. How are we going to do that?
Luckily, they have a team of 16 employees hard at work in their mini factory. And with no time to waste, Flo gets cracking on a key element in the display, a pumpkin.
I'm just mixing up some white chocolate with some orange colouring so that I can start to make my centrepiece.
She fills her pumpkin mould with the coloured chocolate and coats it evenly.
So we've got a nice coating now.
After the orange layer sets, she pours in a layer of milk chocolate. This chocolate layering technique is a closely guarded family secret, and they own a patent for it. These trademarked layers of chocolate upon chocolate gave birth to their company name, Choc on Choc.
Wow. OK, I'm really pleased with that.
Next, Flo wants something to stick her pumpkin on, a chocolate urn.
Starting to fill this up now towards the top. It's going to be a nice solid urn. Little leakage, but that's OK.
The joys of playing with chocolate, oh dear.
We've never really made anything like this before. This is definitely a big learning.
While Flo deals with her leak, the rest of the team are hard at work making chocolate plates and cutlery. And no harvest is complete without fruit and veg. From strawberries to Brussels sprouts, they're making it all. Next on the line, carrots.
Can you make sure it's like quite a dark orange so it's like nice and fresh? And can I get 30 more?
First, white chocolate mixed with green colouring is piped into the top of the carrot moulds. Then there's more of that layering expertise as orange-coloured white chocolate is poured on top. Once the carrots are done, it's time for Flo to crack the urn out of the mould.
Not feeling too confident on this one. However, I might be pleasantly surprised. This bit is pretty tough because this mould is very hard. So I'm just going to snap this out. So we've got a base, that's okay. We've got a middle, that's okay. Because I can glue this all back together. It's a bit like fixing broken china.
With chocolatey repairs underway, Flo has plenty left to do before the charity event. And there's still the small matter of a table made from chocolate. Familiar chocolates can often transport us back to childhood. But few treats make us quite as nostalgic as a tin of Quality Street.
When television first came into being, we used to sit around on a Saturday night watching TV, Quality Street would come around and we'd all dive in.
Most of us have grown up diving into tins of these nostalgic treats. And nostalgia has been a trademark of Quality Street from the very beginning. It was designed into the very first box in 1936.
Quality Street was actually inspired by J.M. Barrie's Quality Street play. These two characters were actually in the play called Miss Sweetly and Major Quality. And this was very much at a time when nostalgia for Victorian era was to the fore.
Yet beneath the old-fashioned clothes of Major Quality and Miss Sweetly hid a revolutionary product. This was the very first chocolate assortment truly affordable to the working classes. And it was all thanks to Macintosh's expertise with toffee.
Quality Street was much more affordable than a box of solid chocolates because toffees are made with more affordable ingredients. They're made with British sugar, and because they were just lightly coating some toffees in chocolate, they were using less of that expensive ingredient and more of the affordable ones. They were able to make it much, much more affordable than a box of chocolates.
And they had another cost-saving masterstroke. Macintoshes did away with fiddly little compartments for each chocolate thanks to a cutting-edge invention.
They were using the first ever twist wrapping machines, which were invented by Baker Perkins and Macintosh, and it meant that they could wrap 2 billion sweets a year.
Individually wrapped sweets brought a whole new experience to us chocolate fans. An assortment box of delights that appealed to all the senses, not just taste.
You shake it, so it's sonic. You can hear there's something inside. Prise off the lid, and then we take a big sniff. Yeah, wow. Really deep, intense smell of chocolate and some of the flavourings in there. And then, of course, it's so colourful.
Everything sparkles. And to a child, that's gold, isn't it? And jewels.
And as you rummage around inside, you hear the lovely shifting of the sweet wrappers. There's a lot going on there, and your senses are really drawn to it.
And the joy of rummaging through these individually wrapped, colourful sweets is also the adventure of looking for your favourite flavour.
Trying to find the green one, the green triangle. I think there's only one in there, actually.
Who's it all the green triangles? Someone's eating them all. Really sounds so.
Nowadays, these iconic colours and shapes are very familiar. But in the 60s, Macintoshes used TV advertising to get the individual flavours known in more homes than ever.
There was a very real job Quality Street had to do, which was tell people what was in the box. And there are lots of different chocolates, and how do you get that across in a memorable way?
The answer came in this ad from the 1960s, where they compared their treats to gangsters.
This is the gang, the Quality Street gang. And this is their street, Quality Street.
So they've chosen to personify it using all the characters that are going to represent exactly what the chocolate is. So, you know, the hard nut, for instance, that's great fun because you can see him as a hard nut, and you've got rather stereotypical kind of strawberry glamour girl.
Soft, as strawberries and cream, the boss's favourite dish.
You know, they've got a real job to do, and they're doing it quite efficiently and playfully.
The variety of the Quality Street assortment was originally an experiment. As tastes change, so does Quality Street. Old favourites like the lemon and ginger Harrogate toffee are no more. Some flavours have survived the test of time.
There are still 5 sweets in Quality Street from the original 1936 assortment. They are what's now known as the purple one, but this was originally the Brazil nut caramel. There's also the green triangle, the toffee finger, which was originally the golden ingot. The caramel swirl was the caramel cup. And we have one more, which I believe it was the toffee penny.
Every time a sweet is removed, a new sweet can move into Quality Street. The latest is the chocolate caramel brownie.
They're telling us it's a chocolate caramel brownie, so we're expecting everything about a brownie, which is slightly fudgy, slightly dense. Is that what we're going to get? No. It's pretty good, but it doesn't have the texture. So I think that's a little flavour illusion and quite fun for people to discover.
Find out later how one quality street would inspire another iconic treat. In northwest London, luxury chocolate makers Prestat have made their name creating truffles for their own brand and for high street names. Today, the business turns over 8 million a year, a far cry from when brothers Nick and Bill bought the company 21 years ago.
We bought the business in 1998 for the cost of a couple of Ford Mondeos.
I've never had Ford Mondeo. I take that as probably about right.
That's about right, yes.
The brothers' business doesn't just include a factory, they also run an exclusive chocolate shop in London's West End, once voted one of the 3 finest in the world.
Well, I think the first thing anyone notices when they come into Prestat is it smells unbelievably beautifully of chocolate, which is a difficult one for television, but you'll just have to believe me.
Prestat are located just around the corner from Buckingham Palace and count the royal household amongst their consumers. But making chocolates for the palace requires an element of discretion.
I'm often asked what is the royal family's favourite chocolate, and I'm really not going to tell you because it is a complete secret. You can lock me up, you can beat me, you can whip me, you can call me names, but I'm just not going to tell you.
Steady on. But how does Her Madge get her chocolate fix? Does she pop down to the shop? Does she send a carriage? The man with the answers is shop assistant LiNKLE.
Usually we would take a taxi just because we would want to deliver the chocolate in perfect condition and as quickly as possible. We would deliver it into Buckingham Palace. There is a side door. We go through security and deliver straight to the kitchen. But we do come back by foot.
And the Queen's mother was such a fan of Prestat chocks that her staff visited the shop on her behalf.
The Queen Mother's steward used to come up every morning and said, I'll tell you the real secret, though, is she keeps your chocolates in a private drawer by her chair, and she puts other brands out on the piano for the rabble.
As one of the oldest chocolate shops in London, everyone from the rabble to celeb snackers have passed through their doors.
We love all of our customers, but, you know, it's quite fun when a sort of well-known face pops by. Stephen Fry has certainly been known to pop by here. We've had Tina Turner come and buy our chocolates. The supremely elegant and beautiful Darcy Bustle visited our chocolate factory. You don't imagine that these prima ballerinas with their beautiful figures and fitness, they all have a secret vice, and you're standing in it. It's fantastic.
But despite supplying expensive handcrafted chocolates to the great and good, Nick himself is partial to a more mass-produced marvel.
One of my favourite confections in the whole world is a crunchy bar. I love crunchy bars.
Your secret's safe with us. Still to come, a chocolate pioneer raids the cupboards for surprising inspiration.
Are you a Marmite lover?
No. And the little tube ruining relationships for decades.
Would you give me your last Rolo?
No.
Mike?
Yorkshire-based confectionery kings Macintoshes revolutionised chocolate with the invention of Quality Street and hit gold again with a clever spin-off.
So 1936, Quality Street is launched with this one tiny little sweet in called the caramel cup. They took these caramel cups, lined them up, rolled them up into a roll and called them Rolo. And that was a huge innovation.
I love Rolos. They just melt in your mouth.
I just can't, literally I can't stop.
Good.
As you get older, they get better, I find.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get much older than you.
Rolos first rolled off the production line in 1937, wrapped in a packet that still looks familiar.
Rolo is really one of those survivors, very similar to today as it was in the 50s, in the 60s. This really became a classic design.
Following the success of Rolos, Macintosh has launched products like Weekend and Good News, which have mostly been forgotten. But in 1957, they took their Rolo design, added biscuit, and made it square. They had created Munchies.
That crunchiness in the middle is the best thing ever.
Oh, they haven't changed.
No, same square shape.
Oh my gosh.
6 years later, Macintosh has produced another confectionery icon. It was based on a treat made by a board member's wife. And at first, there was no toffee in sight.
John Henderson's wife used to make Rice Krispie cakes, but they tend to be lumpy and gloopy in a funny shape. So John Henderson had said, how can we get it all to hold together in a uniform shape? And how can we get it into a wrapper?
The answer for these toffee wizards had been staring them in the face from the very beginning.
And he and his other sweetie boffins at Macintoshes agonised over this for ages until finally they realised that they needed to add toffee.
And so the Toffee Crisp was born.
And now you will see the morning's first production of Toffee Crisp coming off the machine.
Macintoshes showed off the added crunch of their new product in their TV ads, like this one from 1966, where visitors to the chocolate factory get quite a surprise.
Chocolate-covered Toffee Crisp, the big crunch by Macintoshes.
It would be Macintosh's last solo hit. In 1969, they merged with Rowntree to create Rowntree Macintosh. But their inventions lived on, and one was about to be given a slogan everyone in Britain would remember.
Would you give me your last Rolo?
No.
Mike?
You can have my last one. No.
If I only had one last Rolo, I would ask for something in return.
The slogan was first heard in an animated Rolos ad from 1980, voted the most romantic of all time, above Nescafe and Milk Tray.
She's nice. Who is she? Your girlfriend. Does she love me? Oh, worships you. What's she eating? Rolo, my favourite.
It's my last one.
Oh.
But you can have it anyway.
Do you love anyone enough to give them your last Rolo?
Historically, chocolates are given as a romantic gesture, but they're normally in a much more lavish box, they're much more expensive, and yet somehow this little roll of chocolates is made to feel really valuable and really special, and something that anyone can buy and anyone can give their loved one.
And I think they're just two kinds of people, those who will share and those who won't.
The last Rolo slogan endured for over 20 years, and while it left our screens in 2003, it still retains its place in popular folklore. Today, now owned by Nestlé, the name Macintoshes has largely disappeared from view. But Toffee Crisp, Munchies, Rolos and Quality Street are still eaten and enjoyed, taking centre stage in corner shops and supermarkets. A testament to a century-old chocolate and toffee legacy. While toffee and chocolate is a classic combination, around the world, chocolatiers are experimenting with the strangest flavours. From a chocolate that includes actual firewood, to Irish Crisp brand Tato's and their cheese and onion flavoured bar. Inspiration can come from anywhere. A mantra that Paul A. Young, one of Britain's foremost chocolate innovators, lives by.
Everything you have in your cupboard at home can be made into a truffle. And the simplest things are sometimes the very best.
When he's not recreating classic chocks, Paul can be found experimenting with truly bizarre flavours. Today he's trialling a radical new truffle, featuring a kitchen cupboard staple not normally combined with chocolate. Marmite.
You've got to taste it first. It's tangy. It still makes you do that, doesn't it? Blended with chocolate. Believe it or not, it's sweet, salty, and really well balanced.
I'll take your word for it. The Marmite is for a cheese-on-toast-inspired truffle, and he kicks it off with a Marmite caramel.
I'm going to put in the pan first my butter, which is equal amounts of butter and sugar, some sea salt, and then a really good tablespoon of Marmite. It smells great. It's a bit like a Werther's Original, but with something else added to it.
While his caramel cools, Paul gets on with the cheesy element of his truffle.
My favourite thing on the planet. So it's Parmesan and cheddar on a tray in the oven for 15 minutes at 170, and it comes out as a cheese wafer.
Paul melts his toasted cheese wafers into a pan of milk, salt and sugar.
It smells lovely though, it's like liquidy toasted cheese.
He then combines it with white chocolate and lets it cool. Next, Paul fills truffle shells with a layer of Marmite, followed by the Marmite caramel, and tops it off with that cheesy ganache. For a coating, he melts chocolate and adds toasted breadcrumbs. And it tastes...
yum!
Even if you do say so yourself. Over in his shop in London Soho, Paul's invited some of his regulars to try the new flavour.
I am not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to let you taste.
Time to unleash the cheese and that special yeasty spread. Will they love it or hate it?
Is it Marmite?
Possibly, maybe. You're clever. Good palate. Are you a Marmite lover?
No. Not a Marmite fan at all.
Would you
Wouldn't
have it again?
On cheese on toast, but I would have it in a truffle. It's not like it's been put in there for a gimmick. It's because it actually works.
Hooray, so we've got a winner. Yes, I'm so happy about that. Brilliant. Thank you all so much.
It's unlikely ever to rival a Lindor ball for sales. But for Paul at least, it's mission accomplished and the new chocolates will be hitting shelves soon. Back in Somerset, Flo is working on her most ambitious commission to date. Her local pub, the Cross Keys, has asked her to make a Harvest Festival feast entirely from chocolate. And she's delivered in spades. Even the chinaware is edible, and it makes for a sumptuous display.
Everything's starting to come together. This is still very much a sort of trial as to how it's going to look. A few of these new items are experiments, so we've never made these before. So it's our first ever chocolate teacup. These are our chocolate biscuits, but they are like water crackers. And then inside this camembert here, if you cut that open, there's white chocolate inside there and it will ooze.
But whilst they've already produced an impressive 50 kilos of Harvest Festival goodies, their biggest challenge lies ahead. Making the table the feast will be displayed on out of chocolate.
Getting a little bit nervous now because the deadline is looming and we've got quite a lot to do. And the big focus is about to be the table.
To support their mammoth feast, the table is going to need strong legs to stand on. But 4 legs of solid chocolate won't be enough. And it's Flo's dad, Kerr, that has the solution.
I thought we could actually pour the chocolate in and then I put that on there and that would actually fix to the chocolate.
Here goes. So I'm going to place this in. So we're hoping then it will bond now nicely together. I think this is going to be a good solution. It does annoy me that Dad's always right.
A couple of hours later, and it's time to see if it's worked.
It's the moment of truth. Okay. Yeah, it works.
Success. Kerr attaches the reinforced chocolate legs to the table, which Flo's team covers with a tablecloth.
So we're using a real tablecloth to create the real folds, and then this will get removed, and that will leave us with just the chocolate version of this. We've got 7 hours left till the event.
For the next hour and a half, they use their patented choc and choc layering know-how to create a beautiful white chocolate tablecloth, weighing in at around 40 kilograms.
The top is pretty secure now. I think it's just the sides. We're just making sure we've got these bits moulded in. But we're also using chocolate that's slightly thicker now, which is much better for the moulding.
By using chocolate that has started to set, the team are able to give a more realistic shape to the folds in the tablecloth.
We've done between 5 and 6 layers on it, so we're feeling okay about this. We're going to let this dry, and then we're going to need to start moving this over to the Cross Keys so that we can build the feast on the table.
But with 50 kilos of festival feast and 40 kilos of chocolate table, getting it to the pub will be easier said than done. Coming up, our favourite chocolate treats turned into cocktails.
And this is our Roses strawberry cocktail.
And with the festival feast almost ready,
I'm hopeful that it will work as this is the table.
will Flo crack under pressure?
Okay, we're gonna... Oh, hold on. Wait.
Us Brits love a tipple almost as much as we love our chocolate. Liqueur-filled chocolates were once all the rage, and chocks filled with spirits like the famous Grouse and Baileys can still be found today. Because it's drinks with a higher alcohol content that are the most natural partner for chocolate.
So I think alcohol and chocolate are really good together. Now there's a reason for that. If you've got alcohol in a spirit, which is 40% proof, it can be a little fierce in the mouth, a little burning perhaps. So if you've got chocolate, you've got that lovely melting and coating. It's going to smooth the passage of the alcohol. That works.
Baileys successfully put chocolate in a drink with their Irish cream, which includes cocoa extract, giving it a hint of chocolate flavour. And in 1990, Cadbury successfully launched their own cream liqueur, presented in this ad as a rather sophisticated tipple.
And French, like the brandy, or something smooth and rich, like the Cadbury's chocolate. Not necessarily.
Just the way you are.
Despite Cadbury's offering becoming the second best-selling cream liqueur in the country, it has today disappeared from sale. Now, here in the UK's first chocolate cocktail bar, owners Holly and Rachel want to go further. They are taking famous treats and turning them into drinks. The menu includes their take on the caramel, Rolos, and Ferrero Rocher.
Clockwork Orange is a very popular cocktail, so that is themed on Terry's Chocolate Orange.
The After Eight is my favourite. So it's mint and chocolate. It tastes just like an After Eight. Again, alcoholic After Eight.
But getting this fusion of famous treat and alcohol right isn't easy. Today, they're trialling 2 new offerings on customers, with the winner to be added to the menu. They have taken their inspiration from a chocolatey debate discussed in living rooms across the country, and they're bringing it to their bar to settle it once and for all. It's Quality Street versus Roses. Rachel's cocktail is inspired by a chocolate which 37% of Brits voted as their favourite Quality Street, the purple one. Her cocktail is a combination of hazelnut liqueur, Baileys, caramel syrup and chocolate soy. But will chocolate fans recognise it as the purple one?
It's so much like coconut, toffee, sort of fake taste.
What's the green Quality Street? I know I've...
That triangle one.
Yeah.
I'm going with Bounty. It's just something my nan gave me. Do you know, it feels like an old person's chocolate.
Next up is Holly's iconic sweet-turned cocktail. Her cocktail consists of vanilla vodka, cream, strawberry syrup, and creme de coco, a liqueur infused with cocoa beans to give it a chocolatey taste.
And this is our Roses strawberry cocktail.
Can't pinpoint what it is.
Turkish delight kind of a vibe going on.
You know, in Quality Street, there's strawberry flavour like chocolate cream. I think it's that. I think right. So.
Almost. And while nobody guessed the flavours correctly, they've gone down a treat. But which chocolate cocktail will be going on the menu?
So if you can all put the glass that was the favourite one for you on this table here, we will reveal what it is. Okay, I can kind of see what's what here.
The cocktail inspired by the Quality Street purple one is a clear winner and will be hitting their menus soon. In Somerset, Flo and her team have made a huge harvest festival feast entirely from chocolate. It will be the centrepiece at a charity event at the local pub. And if that wasn't enough, They've also made a white chocolate tablecloth to go over the table.
It's coming along all right.
I'm hopeful that it will work because this is the table and we've got 5.5 hours to go.
With the chocolate table set, they can now think about setting the table. But they've got to get it to the local pub first.
I'm just cutting the seam line so it'll come apart easily.
Yeah.
Oh, it's heavy.
Flo's decided to break the tablecloth into 4 pieces to make it easier to move.
Right. Great. First one done.
Just 3 to go.
Okay, we're gonna... Oh, hold on. Wait. It's all right. Got it.
With each quarter weighing around 10 kilos, the tablecloth is cracked under its own weight.
It's fine. We're just snuggling together. Go down. Right. Hayley, you got the front? The back of the table is missing. It's not the end of the world. And I'm positive we can still create this whole table. Yeah.
And Flo's positivity pays off as the front 2 sections of the table arrive safe and sound.
Yep, it's on.
The hard bit is finally over. Flo can now decorate her impressive table with her festival feast before the guests arrive.
So I'm now doing like the final touches where I'm going to bring the feast to life.
Oh, almost. From chocolate acorns and leaves to oozing camembert, it's hard to believe that all of this is chocolate. The charity event is finally underway, and it's time for the big chocolatey reveal.
Thank you so much for coming to our Chocolate Harvest Festival. We're just so pleased that we've actually managed to achieve this. 1, 2, 3.
What a spread! Almost 100 kilos of unbelievable chocolate creations. From a selection of chocolate veg to sandwiches and donuts, with Flo's pumpkin taking centre stage. Not forgetting that chocolate tablecloth. They've thought of everything, including lobsters. And what will the guests eat from?
We have chocolate plates, so you're welcome to help yourself to a bit of chocolate. I'm just so pleased. I've lived in the village my whole life, so to be able to produce something as fun as this, and the fact everybody is so impressed and loves it, just makes it so much better.
It is so amazing. It's chocolate.
We love chocolate.
Next week, how the British makers of the Crunchy and Turkish Delight also invented the world's first chocolate bar.
It's one of our proudest exhibits, the oldest bar of chocolate in the world.
The Sussex factory powering a dark chocolate revolution.
Hadley is currently demoulding 1,850 bars per hour.
And Elvis impersonator Tim meets his life-sized chocolate match.
Are you mad?
Join us for more tasty travels through the wonderful world of chocolate.
And there's more Choco deliciousness next Sunday at 9. New on Tuesday night at 8, meet the frisky French bulldog who has a thing for hairdryers. Just one dog behaving very badly. Next tonight, 2 worlds collide in a Notting Hill bookshop. But is there any chance of a happy ending? Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant here in just a mo.